Tell me if this sounds familiar. You're bending to pick something up from the floor and you hear that clicking in your joints. What is it? Why is it happening? And should I be worried? Joining me now with all the answers, please welcome chiropractor and fitness expert Stacy Irvine. I feel like we've all been there. We'll be in the middle of our yoga class and it'll be like click, 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 yes, like Lego pieces. So should we be worried? What is going on?
It's a weird feeling, and you don't know if you should be saying, okay, excuse me, that was my knee.
Right.
And you, for the most part, absolutely don't be worried.
Okay.
So the loud popping noises are generally because some of our joints have air bubbles in them.
Yes.
And when we do a movement and it compresses the air bubble, we'll hear that pop.
Yes.
If there's no discomfort or no pain associated with it, you have nothing to worry about. It's perfectly normal.
Okay.
Another fun fact is that people that are a little bit more mobile, so the people that can crack their knuckles and those types of things, it happens easier. Okay. So if you're a more mobile joint person, you will have more noises than a person who's a little stiffer with tighter joints.
Got it. All right. Okay, we're going to talk a little bit later about if you should be cracking things that crack easily.
Yes.
But before we get there, what do we need to know about our joints and like joint health?
Joint health is always directly related to movement. So that's why this is such an important topic, in that because people might say, oh, it's making too much noise, I shouldn't move it. So that's the opposite is true.
Right.
The more we move our joints, the healthier they are.
That's right.
Another really common sound is snapping. And sometimes you hear it in your ankle, or it's very common in your hip.
Yes.
We actually have a diagnosis called snapping hip.
Really?
Snapping can sometimes come with pain because it's usually a tendon sliding over a bone. And sometimes it means that things are too tight. Okay. So you might want to kind of quickly stop, stretch it out, and then see if the sound goes away. And especially if you have a bit of discomfort.
That's a good note on that. Okay, so it's a tendon rubbing against a
bone or flipping over a bone, and you'll hear a snap.
Okay, this sounds gross.
I know it does. It kind of does.
But it's like it's not necessarily that painful, but you might feel it.
You might feel it. So you might want to deal with that. Another very common one is grinding.
Yes.
Not grinder, grinding.
Grinding. And what's happening when things are grinding,
so,
like two bones are rubbing?
Two bones are rubbing, and it might be a sign that you have osteoarthritis. So you can, so in my knees, because, you know, they've been used a lot, there might be a bit, and because we sit so much, we have a muscle called the rectus femoris that crosses this joint and crosses this joint.
Yeah.
And it often pushes our kneecap inwards when it gets tight.
Okay.
And it gets tight from sitting, and we sit too much.
Yes.
So I'm going to show you a good stretch for that.
Yes,
okay?
show me a stretch.
So remember, it's this joint and this joint, and that's why when we do this common stretch that people do, they don't get it.
Got
so you want to be in a position.
Even more extreme or isolated.
You have to deal with the hip.
Yeah.
So you always want to stretch this one out by leaning into the hip first, and then also having the foot up behind you. So what that's going to do is it's going to stretch it from the front, and it's also going to stretch it under the knee. So then, I would hold it for, say, 30 seconds. Then when I go to do the squat, I hopefully will have less grinding.
You feel that stretch a lot. So I do that against the wall, and sometimes I will be holding my dog.
I love it.
Because
I love that you do that. You can do it against the wall. It's perfect.
Yeah, it's really, really good for that.
It's a good stretch.
What other stretches can we use for?
Shoulders.
Yes.
Shoulders is another common area because it's the most mobile joint. And lots of times when you do a full circle, you'll feel a bit of a click at the top. So come have a seat. I'm going to explain that one to you.
Yeah.
It's from the same issue, the fact that we sit so much and then we jump up and we try to move and things get tight. So when we sit related to our shoulders, we get a bit of this forward posture, our head comes forward.
Yeah.
There's a little ligament under here called supraspinatus tendon.
Okay.
And it sits underneath this joint.
Yep.
So that when it gets irritated, because you're tight in your neck sometimes, you'll feel a bit of a clicking underneath.
Right.
Okay, so that's the most common one that we feel with our shoulder. So what we want to do is we want to have some tension through here.
Yeah.
Remember, your shoulder just hangs there.
Okay.
That's why it makes it so mobile.
Right.
And we want to kind of accentuate that feeling, and at the same time, we want our head to go over this way.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so now we're stretching out all of this area, giving it some more space, exactly the same as with the knee joint. So we want to open it, and then hopefully
it feels a little looser.
We are able to move it a bit better.
Oh, okay. like that.
Does that make sense?
Can we talk about the cracking of the knuckles?
Yes.
So is it okay?
It is.
It's okay?
Knuckles are okay. They've studied it to say people who crack their knuckles all their life, do they end up with more arthritis? The answer is no.
Really?
Knuckles are okay because it's just simply those air pockets I was telling you about.
Got it.
However, there are people who always want to adjust their back or their neck.
Yeah.
I don't recommend that because as you're doing that rotation, the joint that is the most mobile is the one that's going to go. Like that's the one that's going to make the noise. So every time you do it, the tight joints aren't moving, the most mobile joint is moving. And so you're just making it looser and looser and looser.
Getting overworked.
Which is not always a good thing.
Good stuff, Stacy. Thank you.